Welcome back to DeFi Crypto, best levels in the game. Today we're going to be taking a look at the scariest Bitcoin chart. Do not make any rash decisions up until you've fully understood what is going on here. Let's hop straight into the charts. All right, so, as an analyst, we need to look at all possibilities, no matter how crazy, no matter how far back in time. Once in a while, it's good to look back at these things, right? And I decided to find the lowest low that was available on the Binance USDT pair of Bitcoin. And I can go all the way back to around here, I think it was. This was, in September of 2017, we made this low around 2,800. And, from there on out, none of this is really relevant, although this is quite interesting that the 0.25 level marks the kind of top of that previous cycle in 2017. But the chart really only gets relevant after we make this high. Now, why is that? Well, because that's where we mark our top fib level. Okay, so anything after that is somewhat relevant, right? Now, we can see a little bit of confluence that happened right around here, which was December 2021, right? We saw price pretty much break to the downside. Price got picked up again. I actually remember this low. I think this was when the whole Dow movement was really big, Time Wonderland, a whole lot of different, I think Daniel Sester, whatever his name was, like, yeah, we're buying the low on ETH or something like that, right? Because this low just got absolutely absorbed. A lot of people went and bought back in, and prices just kind of skyrocketed again, right? But prices then got stuck in this range, hitting the 0.5 or 0.75 level, rejecting, right? Falling onto the 0.5 level, golden pocket, and then we got this huge crash through. Prices did not hold. A lot of people got wrecked here thinking this was a support zone, right? Because it seemed at that time like we had a huge liquidity zone right here, right? It made sense to look at it that way. But, if you analyzed it from the fib perspective, right? Following the Fibonacci, you got a rejection there, right? You got a rejection there. You got another rejection there. That is bearish, right? Simple support and resistance, or simple, looking at liquidity or where liquidity lies, it's not always relevant. You need to pay attention to other factors, right? And this to me was expected to happen. Why? Well, weakened economic activity, right? America has been in somewhat of an economic decline. The news is very bearish. People are selling, right? Expect things like this to happen. We didn't even get a retrace. At least the market with adequate volume would have tested this zone, right? So we haven't seen that. Prices crashed all the way down to the 0.5 level. Okay, we found support here for quite a while. We traded here for months, right? Everyone remembers this kind of era, right? We traded here for at least, what is that, 140 days. So half a year we traded in this range. What happened towards the end of the year? Prices just crashed, right? It's just interesting how towards the end of the year we get these huge drops, right? The bear market officially started on the S&P, right, around November, right? And so to me, that's interesting, right? Prices crashed through, and right now we're kind of just hovering in this newfound zone that sits between the 0.5 level and then the 0 level. Okay, now why did I title this video scary? Well, if you look at it from this perspective, right, this is actually kind of scary, right? Would Bitcoin, retest the zone like this and then come all the way down to 3,000? I mean, how many people would get wrecked? How many more exchanges would go down? We don't even want to think about that, right? So for me personally, I know a lot of traders who like to trade the kind of ABC setup, meaning, you've got kind of like your A pattern right there, false break to the low, B pattern, and then C pattern would then leave the zone, right? Something like that could happen. But we would need to see Bitcoin come up to this 19,300 zone and then make a decision, right? It's either we get that rejection or we get a little bit of strength that would put us right back into the zone. A lot of liquidity in this zone. Now, one thing I thought about that would also be pretty fun is if we printed a POC chart from that 2017 level. I don't know how relevant this is from back then, but something really interesting again happens, right? We see another confluence in that the POC of this volume profile actually marks up perfectly with the 0.25 level. So that to me then means, okay, well, that is an even stronger point of attraction and resistance, okay? A lot of selling happened here. What would happen if prices came back up? Would people be willing to buy again? Are people going to sell again, right? Do they have to take profits there? It is a huge point of either resistance, right, currently, or it could be a huge point of support if we were to break above that zone, right? If we were to end up again somewhere around 20K, right, we then have this upper level of resistance, or this higher POC, value area high, my bad. And then, we can go all the way up to 35,000 if that was the case, right? Something like this would be very bullish. Again, we could simply get something like this, but until then, we don't know. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. Bitcoin has tumbled a lot, right? Shorting it at this point becomes a bit sketchy, right? You can take, intra-week trades if you find Bitcoin is a bit overbought, right? Opportunities like this. I mean, people just have been trading so aggressively in small zones like this. I mean, look at how lucky we've been in the past few years, right? That the markets just went up 60, 70, 80, 90, 200% on Bitcoin. I mean, that's a 5x right there on Bitcoin. We haven't seen that, right? The best you could have done was to short the top. But again, the funding fees get crazy. And not many people knew that this would be the top, right? I mean, even I got wrecked back then thinking that this would hold, right? Luckily, I got stopped out somewhere there, right? Thinking this zone would hold, you know. It's just going to be a crazy year, and these are really the levels to look out for. So definitely go ahead and draw these fib levels on your chart. Let me just get rid of this volume profile. 2017, there's that low that was made on the Binance chart. Prices seem to hold. Got a huge run up. This is now our one value area, right, which is 69,000 on the dot. And, will prices crash all the way to 3,000? We don't know. Hopefully not, right? There are still these zones right here to look out for. Right here, these levels right here could hold. They could hold some sort of significance. But, on a higher time frame range, this is really what we have to work with. If we were to look at the lower range, I wasn't actually going to pull this up. I'll hold this for a different video. But here you go. These are kind of our local ranges from this high right here, which is at 21,480. And then our kind of local low would then be 15,000, around 15,500, right? And as you can see right now, this is the chart I actually keep on my Bybit trading account, just to kind of give me an idea of, if I should be biased towards longs or shorts. And right now, although I want longs because we are trading below that 0.5 level, check at this, man. This has just been rejecting. If we go on a smaller time frame, look at this. This is very kind of bearish, even though we should be looking for longs. Bearish. 3 hits off of that high, right? We needed to see something like support. Whoa, my bad. We needed to see something, that would have turned into support, right? But instead, we're just getting these bearish moves, right? Bearish rejections. And so to me, this lines up again with my take on looking for lows around that 15K region. Looking for longs around that 15K region. That's kind of where I'll be looking for longs. So definitely don't get wrecked. Subscribe, comment below if you're long or you're short. Let's get it.